You good? All right. Excuse me. Welcome to the May 1st, 2023 regular meeting of the Lyman Board of Selectmen. The meeting is a public proceeding, is being recorded. Would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I have nothing under special offers, so I guess we'll jump right to item 2. We'll give public in attendance who have up to 5 minutes to address the board. Anybody want to? Sorry. Just so the mic picks you up. Thank you.
Just start.
Who you are and where you live, and there you go.
Okay, hi, I'm Carol Bakeru. I live on the Mass Road in Lyman, and I'm here tonight to express my complete disappointment and, to be honest, a little anger with the personnel line in the proposed budget for the town meeting. I watched the joint meeting last week as I wasn't able to attend in person, but public comment wasn't invited anyways. There was a lot of discussion, and I really want to thank the select board and budget committee members who spoke to their reasoning, because that helped me take a look at how you arrived where you were by cutting out town clerk and select board positions, a select board clerk. There was a lot of discussion around fiscal responsibility, which I'm all for. I'm a total tightwad, and will of the voter. And there were 3 major areas to talk about the will of the voter that were brought up. One was the charter, that there will be a new charter implemented with a town manager position. I don't think anybody thought that the town manager position would come for free. Okay, I really don't. I think anybody that voted on that charter knew that it would raise the personnel line in the budget. When the Charter Commission was meeting initially, I was serving on a committee with a couple of the people on that commission, and I talked to them informally, and I said, I'm a little concerned about that town manager part because they're not inexpensive. And they were like, well, that's true, Carol. It's probably going to cost money, but we really need a town manager. There is so much stuff that needs to get done in this town as it's growing that cannot just be done by a part-time select board or the full-time slate of employees as they stand right now at town hall. And I listened to that, and I wasn't 100% convinced about that. But I also know it shouldn't have been a shock to the people sitting on the budget committee or select board, because some of them also served on that charter commission. So they knew right away they were putting in a new position. I also do not remember any of that discussion saying that we would be getting rid of the town clerk to help pay for that town manager. Okay, I don't remember that. I don't remember seeing it in any agenda this year. I always look at your agendas and I do read the minutes. I don't have time to watch all the meetings on YouTube. And because I'm caring for an elderly relative, I can't come to meetings live all the time. Okay, but I made an effort to get here tonight. I looked all through the charter again tonight. I came and requested a copy, and Lindsay kindly gave me one because I couldn't find mine and I wanted to have a paper copy. And I look at that flow chart, and up top there is the select board and the town manager. And right underneath are positions like town clerk. So all of us who went and voted and read through that charter didn't say, I guess we're going to get rid of the town clerk to afford this new way of doing business. And I know it says you can change the organization, but I think that's a very important position. Another point made, I think maybe by more than one person in that meeting, was the change from elected town clerk to appointed town clerk. And this is what is allowing you to not have a town clerk anymore. I remember being asked to vote on that, to make that decision. And what I heard was, would you like to elect the town clerk or appoint the town clerk? It didn't say, or eliminate the town clerk. It wasn't a choice. When you vote to elect or appoint a position, it implies that position exists. Never once did it say, if you choose appoint, we might just get rid of it. I assumed and wanted the position to be appointed because I don't want just any Tom, Dick, or Harriet running for that job and getting it. It's an important job. I have seen the work that goes into that job. I have worked the polls, and I know just that one aspect, how much work that is, and how much training it takes, and how many legal things there are to consider. And I think it is irresponsible to eliminate that, or to just let it be anybody who could get elected. So I thought appointed. I did not understand eliminated. There was also a lot of discussion in both of those meetings that I watched about the consultant study that you had done. So I came in when I asked for the paper copy. I said, hey, Lindsay, can I also read that study? And she said it wasn't available anywhere I could look at it. So maybe you're looking at some figures that we don't see. And in all that discussion, I didn't hear, well, we can take that select board clerk money and the town clerk money, and that will afford a town manager. I did hear some discussion about, well, some towns do that. Some towns have the town manager be the town clerk. And I heard Eagle Lake. I think we can say Eagle Lake doesn't really compare to Lyman. I mean, size-wise are things they need to get done. I mean, they don't. So I'm concerned that we couldn't see those study results, can't access them. And again, that no agenda or minutes talked about it until I got that email that said, here's what we're going to be suggesting. Getting rid of these positions to pay for this position. And I think there was a little discussion at the end of the budget committee meeting, and I'm unsure if you saw it or heard it, that made it almost sound a little personal. And I think if this is a backdoor way to eliminating a person instead of a position, then that's not something the town should be a part of. And I think, as was suggested by at least one selectman and two budget committee committee members, that townspeople are smart enough to make the right choice. Had you put both amounts in the warrant, then we could go, okay, we understand. This will cost this, this will cost this. But then I heard a little bit of, well, we could still put in the higher amount and still not have a town clerk. We don't have to hire a town clerk. It's appointed. We can just not appoint them. How does that represent the will of the voter? Everybody kept talking about will of the voter, but didn't ask what it was. I know what my will of the voter was, and I know why I voted that way on those. I really feel you need to let the voters decide. And I know you're finalizing that warrant tonight, and I think it will be a mistake to put that amount in, just the lower amount. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Carol. Tom?
I'm here
again.
Well,
That's not funny. But, Don Hernan, Planning Board. I'm just here again to ask the Select Board to vote on the proposal that the Planning Board presented to change the Lyman zoning ordinance to modify the wording on contract zoning. Again, this is what's this? I think it's the fourth time. Fourth time I've been here this spring. We've tried 3 times to put this change on to let the voters vote on it. And again, all it does with respect to contract zoning is to take out, the majority of the changes to take out the words that are not limited to, which are not in the state law. And with those words in there, unfortunately, it allows the possibility of contract zoning for any purpose, whether it's allowed anywhere else in the town or not. We have 3 zones in the town, as I think you know. And we have a list of land uses, et cetera. They're laid out. But with the words not limited to would mean that in theory, a contract could be issued for any purpose in town, any purpose. And this wording is not in the state law. It was a mistake, I think, when the planning board recommended it a while ago. It was voted in by the voters. Okay, so we found a problem. We're trying to fix a problem. If we don't do anything about it in June, again, we tried last November. We tried the previous June. We're going to have to wait, according to the new charter, until November of 24, which to me is not the right thing to do. So again, I would like to ask the select board for the courtesy of a vote on this. The planning board letter was dated March 16th. And again, I've been coming to meetings just to make sure I don't miss it. But you've been busy with other activities. I'm not saying you're sitting on your butt. You're not. However, the time to come, I think, is to take a vote, because if it doesn't get voted one way or the other, if it didn't get voted to allow it tonight, I don't think it would be permissible, would it, Lindsay? I mean, aren't you up to the wire on your getting these net printed, the warrants printed?
No, we have until I think like 2 weeks before the meeting, but it's depending on, if you're gonna put a money article in, you have 45 days, a non-money article is 30 days.
Okay, well, this is a non-money article.
Yeah.
So in any case, I'm just asking for the courtesy of a vote. I'm not gonna, I could talk all night and say why you should do this. If you've made up your minds, you've made up your minds. But I think I would appreciate it if the planning board gets a courtesy of the vote. Thank you very much.
thank you, Don. Anybody else? 5 minutes? All right, moving on to mail. Zoning Board of Appeals will be holding a public hearing on tomorrow at the Lyman Town Hall. Excuse me, the public hearing is on the appeal of Linda Bessonette regarding the did I say that right?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Regarding the mislocated building at 130 Bunganut Pond Road. I wish Brad was here to address this one. Complaints according to the state of Maine and DOT laws regarding placement of snow, ABC Lane off of Southwater. It's a complaint about someone plowing snow across the road or plowing in a public access. I know Brad's pretty adamant on this, and I know that's one of his little hot tickets, so I'm sure he's all over that. All right, item 3, review and approve meeting minutes for 4/18/2023.
So moved.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
I'll
went through
second that.
these and they look good. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I thought I saw it. All right, moving on. Item 4. I'm not sure what that means, but Payroll number 46 in the amount of $25,162.92.
So moved. A second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Right.
I love the eyes, Dave. Accounts payable warrant number 47 for year end 2023 in the amount of $593,881.89. Thank you.
So
RSU
moved.
57.
I will second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Right.
All right, let's go on to item 5. Unfinished business. Woo. Oh, well, item A is ARPA funding. Excuse me, scope of work for RFPs. Discuss putting RFPs out to bid.
That was the plan, right?
Yep.
Put them out. I just need to know from the board, like when you want to open them, how long do you want these to be out for? I got most of everything, from everybody for all the ARPA stuff.
Thank you. She officially bailed me out.
So let's look at a calendar.
Any
two-
recommendations?
2 weeks for a walk for,
My
the pond.
fear on this is I know next meeting is pretty tight.
Oh, yeah, I would recommend like at the very least 30 days.
Yeah, okay, I was
So
gonna
that
say,
you have
I'm,
time to coordinate any site walks.
yep,
But you only have, let's see, that gives us to like the end of May, so it might be first meeting in June, June 5th. Is that too far out? It's a little bit more than 30 days.
no, but are you saying the site walk in 30
No,
days?
To open the bids.
Yeah,
And
so,
then we can
so,
schedule.
so it's 6, so it's really 6 weeks from now.
To get them posted, give enough time
Yeah.
for site walks,
Yeah.
give
Is
enough
there-
time for people to submit.
anything that would need to be quicker with the lake? I don't know.
We
Even
really-
making it 2 weeks quicker is not. gonna
No,
make a
I mean,
difference.
if we put it out tomorrow, you know, you
Yeah, I
gotta
just
you gotta
know
give them a
that-
couple of weeks to,
Everything that's scoped for the field side can happen whenever. It really is not gonna affect anything, but the park side, I don't know.
You might have to
They
do
pulled
it in
those-
phases.
Yeah,
When they
You
pulled
know.
those stumps.
yeah, I know, they did a great
So
job.
I think
That
stuff
looks-
is safe as far
Yeah,
as
it looks
initial
fantastic.
opening.
They did a good job.
and I don't think the beach realistically can be done until the end of the summer.
Right.
You know, so I think we have time
'Cause you can,
to do it, but I think it should be done, choose a contractor and schedule it in.
I think the scope of work, I think can be done anytime. I don't think there's anything that would really
No,
be like, oh my God, you can't do that.
Yeah.
now.
well, on the beach side, you're not going to do the beach work during the summer.
Correct.
The stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, all right.
So you're thinking June 5th?
June, yeah,
Open the bids.
can we, when you, or I guess that's maybe the next step, when we thinking to send them out?
I'll send them out, as soon as I can. I gotta put them in the papers and everything, so hopefully, if not tomorrow, then by Wednesday.
Okay.
And, if you have, I think even Brad has a few people in mind that we might encourage to submit a bid.
That was my thought also. I definitely, there's a few people, local subs that I would like to see bid on this, but may not see it. So I'd like to throw it to their attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I would, I was hoping Brad would be here. I'd like to have Brad's input on the parking lot. I just want him to see it before, so he's gonna see things because he's a site contractor.
The parking lot on which side?
On the field side. I just want, I would like his recommendations on depths of gravels and depths of.
You have a 3-foot fill before you have to worry about gravel.
Yeah, no, and I agree, and that's part of the bid is the gravel.
Yeah.
And I just would like I'd like to just touch base with him, just because he's our guy, so. But anyways, I'll do that.
Okay.
And if anything crazy, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But I'll touch base with him tomorrow. And we'll see where it goes. Whew, I guess, yeah. All right, that's A. B. Planning board request for ordinance. I can we were just kind of just discussed this.
So it was on the last agenda. It got tabled to this.
Yep.
We had requested that the board just make a decision on whether or not you want to put it on the warrant.
I have a long-winded
Oh.
answer to this. Sorry, guys. You know, this is very near and dear to me. I mean, I know in the past, changing ordinances have been done at the select level without taking the consideration of the people that it was going to hurt. So when I ran, I decided that I would try my best not to change anything without the most people knowing whatever that change is. I'm not concerned about the change that you're making. I just want the process that we put in place to go forth. I have a long-winded thing. I'm going to skip through a few things just so you understand where I'm coming from. I think you guys do, but just in case anybody listening doesn't. So it is a point of my conviction not to change any ordinance without the true will of the people. And I believe that takes place in November during the presidential or gubernatorial election. So up to 2,000 voters will see any change, not just an average of 60 to 70 at town meeting. I've tried to explain this for months, but it seems to have fallen short. First, I'd like to apologize to Don Hernan and the board for making the statement last meeting that Don was constantly crying about the issue of contract zoning. Don made a statement that is not personal when he mentioned my name and my project I had before the planning board. He alluded that I pulled the application and said he thought it was an appropriate thing to do so, as if I thought the decision the planning board was correct and therefore gave the appearance if he and the planning board were correct. I've been able to keep my personal business and my selectman duties separate, but in my opinion, some of the same people keep mentioning my business to conflate the two as a tactic to undermine me. For the record, I believe that the decision and the votes that were taken weren't correct at all. I did not make this about my application, you did. Let's just take the first criteria. It states, is land with an unusual nature or location? Prior to my election, in previous select board minutes, and I'm paraphrasing, when the select board was talking to the planning board, it was said that all applications would pass this first criteria because all applications are different and therefore unique in nature. This is in the select board minutes. The first application was a brewery with a residential and commercial zone, in a residential and commercial zone. They said that was unusual. The second was an oil company located in a residential zone. That was unusual. The third was a winery or a brewery, I'm not sure, in a residential zone, and that was unusual. The application mentioned was for a residential project in a residential zone, adding as many as 36 residential units, and then using the schoolhouse, which would have benefited many in town by putting in a police station, a satellite post office, a doctor's office, dentist office, a room for the historical society, a room for adult night classes, a senior kitchen for meals, and 2 daycares that could have been run by existing daycare businesses in town. After all, it was only a brick building on Route 35 that was built in 1937, a school to probably half the town residents. It had an active ball field and a basketball court. All of this, and it was not unusual in nature. The application was pulled because I knew I could not get a majority vote on a gimme question, the project surely was going to get voted down. In my opinion, I believe then, and I believe it now, it was political and personal. I did not make an issue. You did. My name's been mentioned on several occasions on the planning board meeting, and they talked about my projects when I was not present without the authority to do so. The planning board is even mentioned when I was traveling and to where, which put my home and my family at risk. This type of behavior from some of the same cast of people is one of the reasons I ran for selectman. When I ran for the select board, it was, in my opinion, out of control and drunk with power. Employees were not valued, to say the least. I wanted to bring awareness to this type of behavior. I also ran to protect owners' property rights. I was on the charter committee and fought hard to put the policy in place to which we're fighting so hard to go around right now. I first came to the charter committee and gave them my ideas and notes on making the ordinance review steady, stable, and streamlined by authorizing the planning board to do the reviews of all ordinance changes. This policy was not close to being complete when Don took it upon himself to present my work to what was not complete to the planning board. He ridiculed it, and I feel tainted the rest of the planning board against it before I could be properly presented. He did this without any authorization to do so. He stated that the planning board had no time to do this kind of a review. Then he eloquently said, but I'm paraphrasing, the planning board should not be rewriting ordinances, then have the job to enforce them. I agreed with that last statement and went back and started on the ordinance review procedure again. Since then, most planning board meetings, zoning changes are talked about and worked on, so I am confused with the planning board's actions on ordinance review. The new procedure tries to ensure that more people, not less people, will see the changes before they are changed. The Charter Commission, the Select Board, and the people at town meeting all voted for this. This is why I feel it's personal. Moving on to the statement of contract zoning worded but not limited to. The quote is, "It is a violation of state law. The town can be sued, and we cannot stop any project like adult entertainment or adult cannabis proposals." My first thought is you stopped a residential project in a residential zone, but you can't stop these projects. Let me read you the question that was sent to MMA and reviewed by town council. This is a question from the planning board and or the CEO at the time. Is there a conflict between state law and the town's ordinance regarding contract zoning? State law titled 30A MRSA 4352 8B. In our ordinance section 1.8.3, we have 4 standards that the board has to make a positive finding for their recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. Number 3 states, is consistent with, but not limited to, the existing use and permitted uses within any zoning district. The words "but not limited to" are not in the state law. Is this a conflict that invalidates our ordinance? Question mark. Or does our requirement in section 1.7.1 apply? It states whenever a provision of the ordinance conflicts with or is inconsistent with another provision of this ordinance or any other ordinance, regulation, or statute, the more restrictive provision shall control unless otherwise indicated. The answer from MMA. I do not read this phrase as contradictory to the statutory requirements. The state statute requires that rezoning through contract zoning must be consistent with the existing and permitted uses, not that the rezoning must be exactly the same as existing and permanent uses. I read the "not limited to" phrase to be more of an explanatory phrase that is consistent with the intent of the statutory language. Moreover, the inclusion of this phrase is one provision of your land use ordinance. Even if it could be argued inconsistent with state requirements, would not serve to invalidate the ordinance entirely. Rather, to the extent the language would allow contract zoning that is more expansive than the statute intends, the ordinance should be interpreted to be more restrictive and consistent with the statute. We do that anyway. In closing, they said, if the planning board takes issue with the phrase or finds it confusing, it may want to note the language for modification when it comes time to amend the zoning ordinance in the future. Our town council said, I agree with this, Brad. I don't hear any emergency of the town getting sued. Did MMA and town council advise us to change this word immediately, or there could be dire consequences to the town? No. On the next issue, some planning board members discussed not needing the select board to vote on the ordinance changes on the selectmen's warrant. As a matter of fact, our longstanding, most experienced selectmen stated that they could. And I am sure that this is the first time you thought that in 9 years that you've been here.
No, last August, Dave, Jessica sent an
8 years.
email to the board.
Section 202 of the, number 2 of the existing charter, warrant articles. Articles may be placed in the warrant of the town meeting by a majority vote of the Board of Selectmen or by petition of registered voters of the town equal in number to at least 10% of the ballots cast in the last gubernatorial election.
With the exception of zoning ordinance.
Section 701, existing charter. Any initiative shall be submitted to the Board of Selectmen. In closing, I believe it appears that there is personal animosity, and in my opinion, I now believe potential bias. I believe, but not limited to, is not against state law as suggested. I do not believe we are in danger of being sued. There have been no complaints and no applications pending to the board's knowledge. I believe you need to get a majority vote of the Board of Selectmen to put something on the selectmen's warrant at the town meeting. I believe if we are to throw around the phrase like the will of the people, it should be the many, not just the few. It should be in November and not in June. I also believe that I am not wasting or disrespecting the planning board's time and effort. And with that, I would like to ask the CEO if she feels the wording of but not limited to is against state law.
Okay. Contract zoning. I don't believe the way the ordinance is written now that it's in any danger of creating a problem, based on a couple of reasons. There's balances written into the ordinance in that it takes a majority of the planning board to even get it to the selectmen. And because it is a contract, it has to be approved and signed by the selectmen. So you have two bodies that are protecting the town in this instance. I don't think it's a problem. I really don't. But while I have your ear, and because you asked me, I would like at this opportunity just to point out there is a stream that planners and code enforcement officers across the state, it's called Moose Chatter, actually. And whenever there's a question that comes up, someone doesn't understand, or someone has a great idea that they want everybody to know about, I get 5 or 6 every day, and then those get 5 or 6 responses too. But it's very valuable. It's a good investment of time, so I read it. There has been a lot of discussion on contract zoning. And I'm sure at the time it was probably a good idea. But your zoning ordinance came from your comprehensive plan. Your 3 zones were written based on what is good for the town, and the uses that are approved within those zonings are based on that same idea. I believe that when you have contract zoning, it weakens your zoning ordinance. It is allowing a use that you decided from your comprehensive plan wasn't a good idea in that zone. And now you're allowing it. And I do believe it's subjective, which means that it can be political, it can be personal. And I think it casts kind of a shadow on your ordinance. It weakens a lot. And the shadow is that things can happen that aren't well defined. Planners and code enforcement officers all over the state really dislike this opportunity in the zoning ordinance, and as do assessors, because it is so subjective, and it is really difficult to enforce, and it really is difficult to review. So I would like down the road, if I get the opportunity, I would like to meet with the zoning, with the ordinance review committee, and just see if there's any interest there, if they agree with me at all. And because I always think dialogue is great, one way or the other, whichever way it goes, the dialogue is there, and I think that's beneficial. But I think at this moment, and a lot of it, because of the history that's behind it, it's the wrong time. But that's my opinion.
If I may, one more time, can I ask if you might agree with the fact that the articles are voted on by the board, then placed on the town warrant?
I think in reading the current ordinance, which is in effect now, that it is the selectmen's warrant and that it has to be voted on by the selectmen to get onto the warrant. It appears, and because there is no other avenue for it to get on the warrant as defined in the ordinance itself. It goes through the selectmen. I think in the new ordinance that is looked at a little different, which in my thinking is a good idea.
Thank you.
We throw a vote towards this, so we're moving on. So I can't make a motion.
So I make a motion that we place the contract zoning amendment warrant proposal submitted by the planning board to the warrant for the June 2023 town meeting.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I still think and we've talked, we respectfully disagree, and that's okay. I don't see this as an opportunity to work around anything. I think the planning board has been trying since June of last year. They did try for November, and I'm okay with putting this in front of the people.
I'm gonna throw out there that I'm putting, I think we have a great code enforcement officer, and I'm going to agree with her point of view. And so that's my discussion. And all in favor? 2. Those opposed? 2. So that got us nowhere.
Thank you for finally taking the vote.
All right. I guess moving on to C. Stagecoach Road, discussed from last meeting, no further updates, waiting on town attorney.
I did get an update from Brad earlier today.
Yep.
So this, he explained, and I sent the email, and it was later this afternoon, so you guys might not have gotten it yet. But this issue on the Old County Road, it's not the same as Old Kennebunk Road. So because it was voted on in town warrant before 1965, there was no easement. Basically, this is an abandoned road with no public easement. So that he, basically when he talked with me over the phone, he said there's not really anything the board can do over it. So unfortunately, it's going to be a civil issue between some of the property owners over there. But, you know, in 1921 or 1928, it was voted to discontinue the road with no retained easement. So,
And the
And
question
the
that,
question that you pose, I'm sorry, he wrote, there are no deeds necessary. So the interest reverts automatically to the abutters. There's no deeds necessary. Yeah, that's basically what he wrote. He sent in, it was a lengthy documentation of all his highlights and everything.
Thank you, Don. Brenda, did you?
I do have a question.
Didn't know that.
And I was approached just last week, a property owner, way up in there about a possible project. And, I would like some direction on how we handle that when it happens. Do I deny any kind of a permit that comes from property up in there? And you mentioned it's a civil thing, so does that mean that if I deny a permit, is the civil action against the town, or is it against each other, or how does it work? I don't understand.
Well, I think the issue that was brought to us was a civil between each other, right? Because somebody was walking and they were saying, no, you can't walk here, right? I don't know how to answer your second piece of the question.
I just know that
Oh.
there are, I think, 3 properties up there that are now landlocked.
Right.
Would it be a requirement to get, I mean, I've seen some places where they've had to get,
Like a right of
a road
way.
maintenance agreement, like if the property owners, and I know that they might not agree to do that, but I've just seen some cases where the property owners decided, okay, we'll do a maintenance agreement, and they basically put in their own easement.
So it would take all of the property owners to agree to that for
Yeah.
this particular property owner to get to his property.
Holy
does
cow.
anybody know
Aye.
when the law of you can't create landlocked land, non-conforming or otherwise
Well,
was enacted?
1965. So anything after 1965, I don't have my notes with me from the
Right.
last meeting, but it reverted. I think it was the way it was worded was an easement was automatically retained after 65. So before 65, for an easement to be retained, it had to be specifically enacted, like in a
So-
town warrant.
So basically, the town abandoned a road
Mhm.
and created, in a sense, non-conforming lots.
In
ni-
1921.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
When
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
No,
had to do
Yeah.
that.
Let's be clear.
No, I'm just, that's why I was asking, when
Right.
that law actually came about. I mean,
Yeah.
was it legal to do back then?
It sounds like it was. And
Right.
I know this is an issue across the whole state, I think, with abandoned roads. The issue of just this, things that
Right.
happened prior to 1965 versus after 1965. I mean, I'm happy to reach out to Brad, also Brenda, and see if he can shed any light on it. but
That's what I was
It's
thinking.
a
He might,
tricky
it is.
question.
And
Or can we
it's-
get a second opinion?
It's on you too. I mean, to answer that. I mean, not you, but
They've had a
You're
fight going
forced to
on
answer
in Moose Point for, oh God, since I was a kid. There's a pretty good piece of property in there. And they had it logged, and they actually, only way they could do that was come out a private logging road that another landowner built. The people that border Moose Point got things situated so they didn't allow them access. And there's another road, there's Moose Point, and there's another one in there. And
But that wasn't a town road at any time.
there's foundations in there. I don't know. I don't know if it was or was not.
I like the second opinion idea.
thank you, Carol.
A second opinion, like by a different attorney? Yep. You guys you're okay with reaching out to a different attorney?
Where are the funds coming from?
With a municipal attorney, somebody that's that. Am I saying that right? Somebody with that specialty.
Or a land use attorney?
Yeah, either way, that's probably better.
Sounds like we're gonna cross this a few times.
I just think it's important enough because we've had it come up 2 or 3 different times for
Yeah,
different
because
places.
how can you
for
permit
different
anything up
reasons.
there if they can't get
Right.
access? That
And
makes
how do you
perfect
deal
sense.
with sadness saying no?
So I'll make a motion that we ask a second opinion of a land use attorney.
Yeah, I'll second that. And that can come out of the legal fund, correct? It's all
Yes.
legal.
Any discussion on
A
this?
small investment at this point may keep you
Saves
out of
us,
court
yeah.
later, which would cost a lot more, so, and then at least you know.
Agreed.
Some clarity.
What was the motion on that? I mean, like the vote.
We didn't vote yet.
We haven't voted yet.
With a motion,
Yeah, I
second.
second it.
All in favor? All right.
Thank you.
Oof.
I just hate to have to answer that, just to be the bearer of bad news and have to deliver that.
And I think I had said in a previous meeting, I think at this point, I'm dealing with 6 different roads. And I don't
Right.
know which ones are abandoned, which ones are discontinued. I don't have the ability to research that kind of thing. I'm not a land use,
Right.
that's not my strength, but I think it's gonna come up, and I think the board's gonna need to take a stand sooner or later, and I don't know what. I don't know.
All right.
Can I make a motion that we take F out of order since the YMCA is patiently listening to all of this chatter
You sure
about
can.
abandoned roads?
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right. Let's, or do we need to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Sorry, I just noticed you back there and I was like, oh, he must be so intrigued by this maybe, but.
Well, come on up.
All right.
So, we have some contract revisions I sent over to you guys. Basically, our town council and, insurance underwriter was okay with the language. They just wanted to change, instead of additionally named insured, to change it to additionally insured. There's difference in those 2 languages. And then I included in there like park management rules, and we'll have to go over like a fee structure. So I put in a couple different options, and you can play around with the numbers however you want on a fee structure. One thing that just come in today was the amount of revenue we got from renting out the Pines. So I did an adjustment that I just put in there, so you'll see there's different numbers. With putting in those numbers, it went from an average 3 people a car to 5 people per car. If that makes any sense.
Thanks.
So we're going backwards when it comes to revenue.
Not really. So the options I laid out, they all have, a propensity for some sort of a revenue increase. It's just how do you want to go about it? I know that, you don't have to go too crazy. I don't want to make overcharge at the park that people are just going to go elsewhere. But at the same time, trying to look at our revenues. I think for me, the more important thing is data tracking, so we understand how the park performs. And I'm hoping if the YMCA, we can talk about it a little bit more or get your input on it of how to track that number in a way that it's not burdensome to the YMCA, but we're getting the data we need to collect so that we can make a fee structure that makes sense for the park. So maybe going forward, it might be we look at like option 1 or 2 or something lower where we're not getting like a huge revenue, but we'll focus more efforts on collecting data. Oh, Andy, I'm sorry. I have a copy for you.
Okay.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that. So here's what they're looking at for the revenues and the math. So I took your guys' data and broke it down.
Okay.
And this is just like a draft park management. It's pretty consistent with the contract, just maybe outlines a
More details on it,
little
yeah.
more detail, yeah.
Okay.
So the only real difference between 1 and 2, Lindsay, is the seasonal park pass rate.
Yeah,
Okay.
I really wasn't, you could play with the numbers a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
I think even like 3 and 4 came up to be the same, so I added 5. But, yeah, I was looking at the park passes, the seasonal passes, and what your, what's the average savings to the pass holder to like keep the incentive there.
Right. I just want to be careful on the sticker shock factor, that's all, because I think it's something that we could phase up each year if we needed to, but
Yeah, and I mean, I think the data is going to be really relevant.
Yeah.
And Andy, you can provide any insights here as far as, like, I don't know how you guys are collecting the data at the gate. I get your stuff from the financial departments and stuff where they break it down, but, we're looking at maybe counting, each person, each car, looking at, I have my data sheet in front of me, like, I just don't know how you
Yeah, I
guys
think
are
that,
collecting it.
as we mentioned at the workshop meeting, that the data we collected was based off of what we were requested to get.
Okay,
So if we're moving forward, we need more data to help streamline and have a better understanding of its usage and the number of people coming in and aligning with, revenue that they're taking in. We're very comfortable with that. I think the key to this was just knowing in advance what we need and preparing our people for it. So this is your park. We will work with you to adjust as we need to. And if we are adding 2 more columns and it's like, okay, we're gonna stop and count how many people you have in there, okay, we get 6.
Okay.
Now, we're not gonna, sit there and double check to see if somebody's in the trunk. But,
Right.
people want to take that effort. There's other ways to maneuver around, a small fee. The rates, as we mentioned, were slightly increased, I think, 3 years ago, maybe 2, based off of what we felt was a reasonable increase. And that we felt that based off of the value that we felt people were getting by participating and enjoying the park. That's fine too. I think that there's, and we discussed what we thought would be reasonable increases across the board. So, I feel that would, based off of what we talked about with the workshop, feel comfortable with, making those decisions. Ultimately, the decisions around rules and regulations and costs are completely yours. We're here to help with giving that, opinions on whether we think that'll be too much or not enough based off of our usage of other parks and what we've learned along the way. So, comfortable with the decisions that you're making, and we'll move forward with them as we need to.
and some of these numbers too are approximate. So I mean, when I say 5 people per carload, I don't know exactly, I'm just kind of crunching the numbers.
well, I'm just trying to think of ease of use for the person at that gate, right? So I'm trying to think nice even numbers, right? Makes it easier. And then but where I'm getting a little stuck on it is that like $1 or $2 per person in the car, because it's just like one more thing,
Yeah.
which isn't the end of the world, but at the same time, when you're trying to
Right.
do it, it's kind of like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, and then the alternative to that is, looking at, staying with per car to make it easier, but maybe increasing that rate.
Right, and that's where I'm kind of leaning towards maybe it's the $20 per car, because that's still a little bit of an increase. And then I personally think $100 per season park pass is more than fair for what you get there, as far as in comparison to where
Yeah.
you would go elsewhere.
Yeah, you're still
really.
getting an average savings comparable to like what we were doing last year. So.
And that would give us, I mean, I know it's not like one of the options, but I just feel like that would give us some nice round numbers, and it also gives us time to get some data this year to really evaluate it.
So you're going to 4A. I agree with you. The easy,
Yes, I'm doing a 4A.
the easy through the gate. But what does that really give us for help with numbers? on knowing the numbers through the gate?
Well, I think what
And do we
Lindsay
need to
was
know that?
working, well, I think what Lindsay was gonna, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lindsay, what you were gonna work with Matt on was like a sheet, like a template of like
Yeah,
what
which-
we would want, and Matt
like a-
seemed perfectly fine with collecting.
One
Like if we
carload
said-
8,
Yeah, we
one
exactly.
carload
We already
4.
Right.
have a tracking form that we've used in the past, and what we talked about was if there's extra data, adding a couple more columns. And if we found that any of the information that we were already tracking wasn't really necessary or useful, then
Right.
we can eliminate that too. So once, we can pull together another workshop to,
Yeah,
have a different discussion around it,
So-
I'm happy to come back in.
So if we were just gonna throw just for easy math, $20 a carload,
So if it's
you
20
guys
bucks
would
for
be
the
able to
seasonal pass, it's
track-
100.
but could you still track what's in that car?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I mean, that was
All
my,
it is writing a
oh yeah,
number.
right. Count, head count, 6, $20, 6 kids, $20, 5,
Yeah.
$20,
We got
3.
6, okay,
Well, I think
cool.
at that point, we have that solid data to look at for next season or something, just to phase it, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we just do it by carload, and we don't wanna worry about having to charge people, then people aren't gonna be likely to say, okay, I have 6 and there were 2 more in the very back seat where you can't see.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
Or hey, you guys like
Movie
go
theater.
walk through the woods and we'll meet you over here, like just,
I mean, so, will people do that?
hey, I get him free,
Yeah, it could
I
be.
live here.
well,
Okay, good.
the other thing to track too, like, so the park passes, I have them right here, but if we could get like, the added thing I put on there was putting on a plate number,
Yeah.
so that there's a comparison, so that might be an added for the gate attendant to sort of either run that comparison or, issue that card and write their plate number on it. Once it's issued, you just have to look at it and go, okay,
So I guess that will be the other piece of it too, making sure that,
Hmm.
is that park pass transferable to someone else in your household?
I would say, I did it by plate number.
Do we
So I would
make it
do
like a
by-
dump
by
pass?
car, like
Is it a dump sticker?
similar.
I mean-
anyway. But I looked at other park passes, like, around the country and the state and stuff, and so some of it's just, I don't know. You could-
I think most people are probably coming in the same car and like the gate person might have a case by case that it's, yeah, I don't know, I guess I just am a sucker, and if it's one day and you have a different vehicle for that day, like, they're gonna know who the people are, they see the people come in and out.
Show your registration. If you had to, you know
Can't
what I
wait
mean?
to see
And
you
if
down
it-
there.
If
You
it
just
came
grab
down
your
there
little
like that, but,
flashlight.
The other aspect of that could be
sorry.
that if it's a household situation, that you have the street address along with it. So if
Right.
somebody does come in with, something that doesn't align,
Right,
and you want to have, then you can say, okay, yeah, this is the right household.
right.
I think we're totally heading in the right direction. Completely heading in the right direction.
So we definitely need to approve this tonight, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Let's-
and park management rules.
And park management.
You have to learn and modify them. And the fee structure. And so, yes, if we could just come to an agreement on what do you want to do for a fee structure. The only thing I left out of here was, the $50. We used to do a weekly pass that was $50.
Honestly, I don't have that memorized.
Well,
Yeah, but
I,
it's-
so I noticed we only sold one.
Yeah.
So I didn't make any recommendations to change it where we just sold one. And then senior citizen, I just put $10 per car. It's from 4 to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So I left that the same. And the Pines is $250 a day.
250 a day, right, like,
So the only thing I,
up to a certain number of people, and after that, it's a per person. No one's ever gone on beyond that.
okay.
It's 100 people.
So I just need the non-resident daily charge and the seasonal pass.
All right.
Before I don't think we're, oh yeah, is that the per car? That's what you're talking about, sorry.
Yeah.
So 20 and 100 would be what I would be in favor of.
Minus the one per person in the car.
Correct.
Yep.
I think that's fair and reasonable. I mean,
think it's a way to
prices are
phase
all
it.
Going up across the board, and the cost of operating is different, and you need to cover some additional costs. $20 per day,
Yeah.
we're gonna have today.
Yeah, I feel like it's a way to phase it.
Movies or bowling or anything else.
True,
we've never
true,
done
true.
before.
Right. I mean, what is it? Yeah, $6.50 to go to the movies for 2 hours. Yeah.
6:50? Where are you going?
I was,
she's
You've
resting.
been gone a while, haven't you?
no, it's been a while, yeah. My wife will
Yeah.
confirm that. All right.
Lindsay, on page 3, number 4, the duration, it should be May 1st, 2023.
Where are you on?
Page 3 of the contract,
Oh,
number 4.
Oh, did we enter in a 2-year though? Is that why?
well, you're just making
And
an
the first,
amendment.
on page 1, Jess, it's amended May
switch it?
1st, 2023.
Gotcha.
And then page 3.
Right, see how they left that 22 date there first though?
They
On the-
left it there for a 2-year.
Oh, got you. All right. Like,
I don't think I'm with you.
under payment
Nope.
Nope,
duration.
page 3, duration, yes.
We left that there because it does begin May 1, 2022,
So we're just amending the
We're
contract that
amending
already
it.
existed.
Okay.
as of today.
I was with you on what you were saying though.
Okay, that makes sense.
Thank you.
Makes
Okay.
total sense. All right.
Can I motion these both or? I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the management agreement as outlined by town council and park management rules as discussed tonight with the updated fee structure. That's my motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Andy?
So that automatically takes our option 4A.
I came up with some.
Yes.
Good, so that's not good. That's what I make
$20.
sure, Yep.
And $100.
All right.
And then we'll get some data.
Yeah, I think once we get some data, we can totally.
Do you want,
I heard
You wanna do
rumor.
it?
you
Would
guys,
you guys
Just a
like to do
rumor.
a workshop to just go through what we've,
how do you feel?
I'm comfortable, I mean, I think if there's clarity to be needed, then I'm happy to meet you again.
Yeah,
Do you want to, do you want to sign the contract where they voted to amend it? And then we'll have all the signatures, and I can send you a copy?
Let's do that.
Yeah, want to do that? That way he can sign it and get going?
Yep.
Oh, we want to do that, is that in here?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. This is a pile of signed stuff.
it's okay.
See if I can find it.
It's letter F if that's helpful.
Oh,
Probably
yeah,
not.
look at that right
Oh,
there.
right there.
Alright, so this is the contract. Oh, there we go. This is the park rules. It's all ready, right?
Over there. Pass that one down to Dave. And that one down to Dave.
I'd like to just read through it again, because I haven't actually reread any revisions that you have. That'd be great.
Okay.
And then I can take care of it.
All right,
Scan it,
sorry, I
bring it back. Yep.
Oh, that's fine. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome to hang and talk about roads.
You want to do another workshop?
Is that what we agreed on?
I'm
Only
sorry.
if you need it.
I thought
Yeah, if you need
Oh,
it.
if we-
Yeah, if you need any clarification. Yep.
I'll walk this through the map. I think everything else we can just work on together.
Okay.
For the workshop. I think we're all on the same
Yep.
page. And
I think we are.
move along.
Yeah.
I think the only question was preparedness for opening on Memorial Day. It sounds like earlier you were just talking about that things were moving along at the park for safety
They
purposes.
did get
Yep,
it, Tom
they
said it got
did.
cleaned up.
They
Okay,
did,
So all the
they did a
trees
great
were
job
good.
down there too.
Yeah.
Okay, great, so
Yep.
we're set and ready to go, we feel like everything's in order, and the safety component that we talked about at the workshop is covered, and we're ready for
It's gonna be
Yeah.
it's gonna be exciting with the stuff going on down there, the
Yeah.
improvements, so.
Yeah, it'll be great. Well, we're excited. So. All right, thanks
Awesome.
again. I appreciate you
Thanks.
the time.
That's my agenda. Oh, yeah, we
So
jumped.
now, sorry, back to the.
We did. We jumped out of order, but I lost my agenda. All right, moving on. Whew. Let's jump around. Now we're going back to IT committee. Approve a statement of purpose.
So it's IT committee and Butternut committee. I know I'm
There's two,
lumping
yep.
them together.
Yep.
I've looked at these. And
Right.
I feel comfortable making a motion that we approve the statement, the project statement for the IT committee and the Butternut committee.
I'm okay with doing both.
I'll
You guys?
second that.
Second both. All right. Any discussion? All in favor? We good? All right. We got a streamlined Jess.
It's been a long weekend, so one day, so here we go.
All right, G. Dumpster for Bunganut Park. Nice. All right. I agree that needs to be a dumpster there, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. CSI salvage 4-yard dumpster, one-time weekly pickup, $210 a month. Toronto, I messed that up, I'm sure. 4-yard dumpster, one pickup a month, one
Wait.
pickup weekly, $283 a month. I don't know what the last one is.
Oh, Triano gave me,
Or two
they could
times.
do
Oh, a
one
two-time.
time Weekly or 2 times weekly.
Yep.
Mhm.
So you have a current budget for trash removal at Bunganut, it's $2,250.
Did we talk about, I thought somebody had said something about how this should really be on concrete, or does that not matter?
It should be, but I guess they're just having so many issues with like critters and stuff.
Yeah.
getting trash.
No, I agree. I just don't want to cause more problems if we don't.
I
do
know
that.
I have Casella at my house with a 4-yard dumpster, and I've asked them specifically, and they were like, we'll dump it wherever you want.
Perfect.
So, I mean, that was.
Yeah, I just don't want to do more
I-
damage, and I know
for
we're
us,
working over
maybe
there.
We want a fence just to keep critters out, but there's a chain over the top that locks it down, so they
Mhm.
can't get in.
Yeah, and I think we're looking at the ARPA RFPs, like again, a lot of the work over there is probably going to have to be done in phases or towards the end of the season. So I think the idea was to get it, like, get a fence around it, get a secure spot for it in the future, hopefully near future.
So I'm reading Troiano that they don't offer the seasonal, so they'll just leave it there,
Right.
essentially.
With a $45 a month rental fee. We'll leave it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then as far as CIA goes, they'll do it. Oh yeah, it says it right here. Sorry.
5 months, yeah.
I make a motion that we go with CIA salvage for the seasonal dumpster rental at Bunganut.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Any discussion?
How they been doing, John?
Huh?
CIA.
I haven't heard any complaints lately. Helping businesses today, I guess, you know. I don't know what the good answer is.
I guess the only other thing I would want to make sure too is just that if we're putting it there, that we make sure that the Y somehow it's locked.
Right. So it's
So
not
that
a
random
town
people aren't
facility.
just
Yeah,
dumping
yeah,
random
yeah.
stuff, because that's what happens at my work all the time.
Yes.
Combo locks available.
Yeah.
So we'll put it-
So I just want to make sure that,
Is a 4-yard one enough? Are we sure?
I asked Andy, he said he thought a 4-yard would
it's
be
better
enough.
than stuffing bags of trash in the weird little.
My God would say 4 yards too big, personally, for per week.
Yeah, I don't know about the
But
traffic.
I think you just gotta let it see it and
Yeah,
adjust
yeah,
it.
just check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
mine's not a
Kids.
4. I don't know what I have, but I think maybe it is a 4, but it's every 2 weeks and it's
Yeah, we got a 6.
It's always
and-
empty.
And we're packing it with a loader for 2 weeks. Okay.
But it's different.
dirty dog. Yeah, I guess we'll just write it out and see what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah,
and see
whatever
where it
goes.
Yeah. All right.
Are we gonna vote?
Oh, we didn't vote. Okay, all in favor? Sorry, thanks.
It's okay.
I'm glad you
That's why
guys
I'm
keep
here.
me in line. Yeah. All right, CIA it is.
Okay.
All right, moving on. H, Port City Architect. Woo! Discuss next step.
Still just kind of hanging out there.
Yeah.
I think Dave had recommended at the last meeting if we want to invite these bidders to come to a meeting. Didn't have a chance to reach out to anybody, but, or if you guys had, if you want to speak more specifically to one bidder than the other, if you had anyone in mind, I guess it was just sort of left kind of hung out there. I just wanted to revisit it.
You want to jump in anywhere, or you want me to just go?
Well, I mean, I
Is
thought
your-
we should at very least talk to the low bidder so
Yeah.
that you could,
Does it also make sense to check with these? He provided some references that are local too.
I think,
He
Did-
no, he did in
Oh, he
this
did.
email. So like, this is Town of Hollis currently designing their new town hall. Town of Casco designed their town hall building a few years ago. Town of Wyndham designed their new public works building a few years ago. I mean, just be worth saying like, hey, how'd that go
Mhm.
to somebody over that at those places?
Okay.
So that, and then maybe schedule a time to talk to this person, but I don't know about everybody else. I feel like maybe get through town meeting, but that's my own personal. I don't have a preference either way. I can make it work.
it's just, my thought is either we're gonna move the building forward or we're gonna stall it. I mean, we're talking, what, 6 weeks away before we talk about it again?
Yeah, I think we can get references and then, or maybe we have a May 15th.
I mean, I'm sure the bidder,
first
if they've
15th.
worked with municipalities, are aware that, everything's comes down to appropriation.
Right. Yeah, I'm fine. So we have a May 15th and we have a June.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with either one, if that person's able to come.
There's such a difference in price. I'd like to make sure we touch base with both of them for sure. And
Did everybody look at what I reviewed and sent you guys?
yeah, from
Just putting them both
comfortable.
together,
Right,
how
right.
it was bid, that's all.
Yep.
So should what you want?
I'll cross-check some references for custom concepts.
Yeah.
And then do we want to invite them to the next meeting if they want to go over their bid?
I think
I mean, we've met with Port City. I mean, Dave did and Brad Nibble did. But if we want to meet with them again, we can.
I think it's custom concepts that we really need to touch base with to make sure that they've got their apples. In the
Yeah.
row. But it seems like they do.
Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask the question to, what's gonna hit us that we're not seeing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think references will help with that as well.
Should we shoot for the 15th?
Yeah,
Oh, what else is scheduled for that? Is there
there's 2 public hearings.
on
Right.
the 15th?
And then
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's hard for me to tell what your agenda's going to be like by then. Hopefully not too bad.
Because 2 public hearings there. All right, well, should we shoot for the 15th? You want to shoot for the 15th?
That's,
I'll put it out to them.
And see what happens. Maybe they can't. And
Right.
And they,
And I
we have
can-
Is that something that we do?
Would that be a workshop,
in-
since we're not actually
Ooh.
taking a vote too?
Yeah, that's,
You
If they
can-
can't come on the 15th. If they can come on the 15th, I think that's
oh,
fine. It's
maybe it's
not.
better that they don't if we got 2 public hearings.
Okay, well then, yeah, if you want to do a workshop, you can do that.
Oh, boy. Now we're getting back into a different schedule.
I mean, we
Hold on.
can see what they have to offer for a date and then choose wisely around that.
Yeah, right.
Woo! I don't even know where to begin. All right, Brad. Oh, shit, that ain't gonna work.
Doesn't matter at this point. I'll just go wherever. Oh, look at you with your calendars.
I know, this is the only thing that's keeping me alive right now. Somewhat scheduled. All right. So, what are our thoughts? The week of the 15th? After the public hearing?
So I have Tuesday the 16th open. After that, it goes into the next week,
Let's shoot for that, see what happens. See if they can meet
16th.
on the 16th. Does that
Mhm.
that work with you?
Mhm.
I'm
I'll
sorry,
make
I'm
it.
throwing-
wait a
I'll
minute,
make it.
isn't the 16th the,
No, this is May.
right? Isn't the 16th the candidates night?
No, that's the 11th.
I knew that.
I'm just gonna stay over here with my softball schedule. Be quiet.
Add that to the calendar while I know it's there, fresh in my
Just let
mind.
me know where I need to be.
All right, so we're gonna work on that. We'll see if that works, 6 to whatever.
And
Oh,
you want
6
me
o'clock?
to reach out to the town hall expansion committee? Do you want them to come to the workshop?
I think that's appropriate.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, checking things out. All right, so let's do that. Moving on. IT remote managed services. Discuss next step.
So I kind of summarized,
Oh,
we've got
yeah,
8
that's right.
RFPs. And did the best I could to summarize them. There's 2 of them from Maine, the rest are from out of state. And all the ones from out of state basically offer all the services that were in our RFP, but I don't know how they're gonna do in-house supports. I imagine it would be through a third-party consultant, which might make things kind of complicated. So it's however you guys want to look at it.
Do you remember, Lindsay, did they make any mention of travel at all or?
No, a lot of
Okay.
them didn't. I think they may have put hourly rates, or some of them charged like per day. I think one was like $800
Mhm.
per visit. But there's no discussion in their bid proposal of how they would facilitate that. So
Yeah.
if they're, coming from California, I imagine it would be through a third party. They would have. a
Either
third
that
party.
or what they'll do a lot of times is remote connect in, which
Yeah,
is
and then.
a nightmare. I'm just
through
gonna
it.
say it as somebody who's been on the receiving end of remotely connecting in. So like, just click this and do this, and I'm gonna take over your screen, and then you just watch them do who even knows what. It's just weird to me, but
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's not doing the job. But
But yeah, if you look at, I was looking at the ones from Maine and thinking that, well, if they had to come out here, at least they're in Maine and
right.
they could travel. With Beam Data, he does an all-inclusive package because we buy the block time.
Mm-hmm.
And we bought 240 hours last time. We're going to use probably about 220 by the end of June. The Burgess Technology, they don't offer block time. They did an annual cost for the RFP, the scope of services. Anything outside of that is $150 an hour for on-site services or $180 an hour for consulting and software development. So I don't know exactly what that means. So I don't know how to look at that except for maybe like, we know we've used about 220 hours with Beam.
So we have the potential of having extra costs of about $43,000 on top of the $49,000.
Right.
Right.
Wow. Who would have known?
So it's just something to consider.
Can I propose, I don't know, make a motion for this, that we table this until next time, just so that we can wrap our brain around it, because this is great,
I'll second.
okay. I just don't know how to process it
Wow.
yet.
Yeah, that's. Oh, we need to vote, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay, I was trying to whisper it this
All in
time.
favor? All right.
Is there any other information you need from the
gotta get
RFPs? I mean, they're
code.
all very detailed.
If I do, I'll send an email. I might send an email just asking like a question, or I might just come and look at what they submitted because like I
I
said,
mean, at
it's
the very least, so if you want to look at, maybe, I can send them all to you if you want, but I was just focusing on Maine. Like,
I'm
I
looking
can-
at 1 and 2 personally,
Right.
Yeah.
but I
Those are
still
I
like
could
trying to
send-
compare those to each other is
Yeah.
tricky for my brain right now. So
Well, then I can just send those RFPs, and if you want to look at the other ones, just let me know.
yeah, okay. Thank you, because this is very helpful. It's a lot.
The closest next one is Pennsylvania. Here we go.
Yeah, I don't know about anybody else. I just picture other people trying to do the remote connect over the phone and they're saying click this or type that, and then my brain gets stuck. So,
All right, let's move on to item 6. Committee reports. There's no Brad. No chief. Tax clerk, CEO's here. Want to throw anything, Brenda? All right. She's busy.
no way.
Treasurer's expense report is in here.
Mhm.
I don't think the town hall committee, expansion committee has anything you want to throw in. You want to throw anything there, Dave? Yeah,
I think we talked about.
I think we did.
Yeah.
All right, so shall we go on to new business? Board approved for deputy clerk access to the vault. That would be Holly.
Yes, because sometimes she's here by herself, and she needs access to get to the money. So, I mean, she can use the lockbox, as long as you guys are okay with her having a code to the vault.
Make a motion that we give Deputy Clerk Holly Hutchins a code to the lockbox to have access to the vault.
I'll second that.
I'll throw out for discussion. Does she need to take it out of the lockbox or can we issue her a key?
You know what?
I don't want to throw in any. gr-
I like streamlining and keeping that key secure, and it's the same way personally that I handle any master keys at my
But I'm
place
okay
of
with it.
employment. I just
And
think it
it
keeps
seems
it
like it's
clean.
limited to her amount of time she'll need to get in there, so.
Well, probably
Okay.
I don't know. It makes me feel better. I don't carry master keys around. I like them locked somewhere. That's
Be real. I just threw that out there for argument's sake.
Yeah.
All right, so all in favor? All right. There you go, Holly. Okay, annual town meeting warrant. Review and approve warrant for annual town meeting.
Oh boy, this is beautiful. All right, we can have that because oh, current year, sorry.
Was there any specific reason that the Budget Committee didn't vote on Article 3?
I've been told that they never do a vote on it.
Yeah, we were the only ones that did that. Remember,
Was it?
they closed their part of it, and then we put that forward.
Oh, yep.
I make a motion that we approve the warrant article for annual town meeting on June 15th, 2023.
Almost there.
Sorry. I was ready.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'll suck up.
Any discussion?
I'm sorry, can I have just 1
Yeah,
minute?
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, the first time I've seen it.
You good?
Sorry.
Don't worry.
I'm good.
All right, all in favor?
Oh, hold on.
Oh, sorry, geez.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
You're
sorry.
fine.
Does this mean the warrant will be closed after this vote is taken?
It's the,
Depends.
I thought I had another 2 weeks to get the maps, the amended maps, and they really need to be voted on.
You do.
I can?
Yeah,
Okay,
for,
so
for
this-
non-money items, we can
Right.
do 30 days before town meeting.
Okay, so I can get it for next week.
We'll just have to do an amendment and sign another one.
That's okay.
I'm
okay.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
I think it is, but is the snowmobile registration money in there.
Yes.
$6.82, I think.
Sure, I did see that. I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't. All in favor? All right. Sweet. All right, now we've got to appoint, review, approve committee applications for Bunganut Committee.
So-
I don't know if you're gonna do all of
Can
these. I mean, I've listed them
Yeah.
out.
Maybe we
Yeah.
are. Yeah, you
So
got
I have a thought, if everyone wants to hear it.
it. We do.
I know. Bug and I committee and IT committee have not had a project statement until this meeting. So I think we should put that out and seek volunteers so that, because maybe somebody would read that and say, oh, that's what that's about. Because I've had a couple people say, well, what would I do?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, so I think putting that out there would get, hopefully drum up interest, or maybe have people go, that's not what I thought it was. So that would be my thought on those two.
So that we, table those two?
Yep.
And then move on with parks. Okay.
And Lindsay, would we put the, those project statements, like, could we put those out or link them somehow in like a, hey, help us? Or however, you'll word it way nicer than that.
Is that a motion? Do we have to motion that? Do we-
No, we'll just
Okay.
table those two
Okay.
and then, we'll look at the other ones.
All right.
The comprehensive plan one, I only have like 2 people, so I don't know if we want to wait until we get more.
I really want more people to want to do that.
And I think we only have 1 opening on ordinance review committee, but there's 2 applicants.
Well, can I do an easy one?
Sure,
Parks and Rec.
okay.
I gotta take a break, I'll be back.
Not too far.
Don't be long.
I have an easy one.
Oh.
Parks and Rec. I would like, well, I want to make sure the names match. I think that's Donna, by the way.
Oh, this is the backside.
I'm gonna motion that we appoint, I think it's Donna Johnston and Claire Campbell to Parks and Rec Committee.
Yeah, it does look like Donna, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just on the email.
Such fancy
It's just a fancy deed.
handwriting.
Okay.
If you go to the email, it says there's a lowercase d.
Okay, so that was a motion.
That was a motion. I only have one other person that can second that motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the motion?
To appoint Donna Johnston and Claire Campbell to Parks and Rec.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
There.
Sorry,
See if we
John.
accomplished something there.
All right.
Okay. I would love to see more people apply for the comprehensive plan committee before appointing people. I know we said that like twice now. I just hate to like appoint as like a first come, first serve kind of thing. That just feels weird to me. So if we're okay putting that back.
Should we, is that a table
Yeah,
until we,
kind of.
maybe until we get do we re-promote it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been
I
trying to
know you
promote it.
have.
I thought I'd put together a nice explanatory, this is the goal.
Maybe we just wait.
Who's on the ordinance review committee now?
6.
Because we were shooting for 7, I believe,
Yeah, and Morris was a member.
and you were down 1, I believe.
No,
No.
I looked at it.
Okay.
I think there's one person that Morris had encouraged. I think we need to check with that committee on how many spots are there, because I think there's an individual
There's
that was sworn in but has not come to a
no,
meeting.
yes. Well, I mean, if he's sworn in, he's sworn in. So, I mean, it would be up to the committee.
So I think their
to-
bylaws.
Well, they need to bring that to the board, I guess, or,
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's what I've heard, and I just
Yeah.
would hate to.
I mean,
Say,
I
oh,
can
there's
tell
only
you
one
for
spot.
sure, there's one opening. definitely.
Right. I just would want to, I guess.
I'll make it easy. I'll withdraw from both of them.
Well, ordinance, so pause
Both
for a
of them.
second. No, you were in the restroom
That's
when I
okay.
said we were going to put out comprehensive plan.
No, I'm fine. I'm ready for a break. I really am.
I thought you were going to be doing the budget.
Maybe not.
Okay.
So where are we on the ordinance review then? So but definitely the comprehensive plan is definitely tabled then if we're down even fewer people. The ordinance review is only
You don't have to make a decision, it's, they apply.
Well, Dawn is already a liaison for the planning board.
Oh, for the,
Yeah.
that might be a typo on the agenda, sorry. It's, if you look at the list, it's Dave Dewey.
In the applications, the actual applications.
I
Oh.
think that got carried over from the
Okay.
last.
oh yeah, I see where you are.
Sorry, but I can't do it.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we appoint Dave Dulong to the ordinance review
Okay.
committee. I just made a motion that we appoint Dave Dulong to the ordinance review committee.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor? Want to do it? I'll do it. Yep. Get it done, get it over with. So,
You just say not in
is-
favor.
is that it? Oh,
Did you-
sorry, I didn't, yeah, I'll not do. You can pull that out there, just, yep.
So I'm confused at your vote. Are you a yes or a no?
I'm a yes on Dave, yep.
Sorry.
There's no, is that it? There's no
There's no
executive session? There's no other?
That's just a placeholder, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, hold on, we need to sign a bunch of crap. Oh, I probably shouldn't turn that over.
I've been thinking about this for a while.
Okay.
Again.
Might not find my name.
I'll keep us straight.
Without garage. Yes, we did.
Oh, wait a minute, I just did this, we should.
Huh?
Which,
Oh,
I gotta pull out these ones. Bill Singh,
Oh,
Park Committee.
did I?
Yep, no, I'm with you.
I didn't sign anything wrong. Oh, you're in there. Okay.
IT,
There's Donna and Claire.
And these two.
so this is the one
We can just
that we're
write it,
definitely doing.
I think.
And this one, this one, this one, this one.
Oh, but now I'm signing, which is taking you a little work.
Yep, yep. Oh, I know what this is, okay.
You have to sign these ones.
This one, yep.
Oh, hold on, I'll give you all three at the same time. Magic.
We did these ones.
You do those, I'm gonna have them do those.
Okay.
Yes, we did. There, these are all just
That's you.
signatures. Yeah.
They just all need you.
Yep.
There's three.
I only signed two.
What? Come
You only
on.
gave me two.
No, I didn't.
There's the other one I ripped off. I didn't see that one. Feel it. Thank you. So, that's right.
Oh. We'll get there.
Okay. Yeah, I can't worry about watching Tucker anymore. They fired his ass.
Oh. I don't really know what that means. I just know it's a show you watch, so.
Mutual.
Yeah.
Oh, is that how that, oh. Now I know what you're talking about. Sorry.
No.
I won't even tell you.
Tucker.
Some of that
No, I
French-
thought you were like talking about like some different shit, like a series or something when you
Well,
said that. I
no,
didn't
no.
realize who you were.
That French
It clicked
family-
now. Sorry.
Well, no, that French family you married into has got to be affecting you sometime.
We don't talk about that at my house. Nope.
Mm-mm.
Shipped it all that way. I make a motion. Is everyone ready? That we adjourn?
Second.
All there?
This, this, and this.
Feel bad.